Hello, clever people, and welcome to my review for Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. So, Scary Stories is based on a series of books with the same name that came out, honestly, I don't know when. I think that they were in the 90s, because I know a lot of 90s kids that talk about them, but I know a lot of early 2000s kids that talk about them. They were never in my childhood. I have no clue what they are, so I went into this movie pretty blind, and it follows the story of these teenagers who start noticing some weird stuff going on around town. They go into this house that's haunted, and they pick up a book, and then the book starts writing stories about people that they know, and right once it writes stories about them, they disappear. And they don't know what to do. They're freaking out, so they're trying to find a way to end the evil so that less people have to die. It's a pretty simple premise. You've seen it tons and tons of times before. It's a book. It's basically the same as Goosebumps, except it's just a PG-13 more disturbing version. It's literally the same. It's about a book that writes stories. The stories get out into the real world, start terrorizing people, and they're trying to find the source of evil to stop it. The first Goosebumps, it's the exact same thing. So this movie definitely doesn't give points for creativity, but I knew that it had producer Guillermo del Toro on it, and considering it was a very effects type movie, I thought that that could have been interesting. However, the trailers to this movie are some of the worst trailers I saw all year long. They looked atrocious to me. Every time I had to watch one in the theater, I wanted to leave the theater and just stand outside until the trailer was over because they were horrible. They showed nothing about the movie. Like, there's a difference between showing nothing about a movie and showing too much about a movie. There's a sweet spot where you can introduce the plot or introduce the vibe or the feeling of the movie. Personally, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, perfect advertising. It shows a bit what the plot's about, shows a washed-up actor, shows his stunt double, gives a feeling of what type of, sense the movie will have, kind of lighthearted and free, but it does not give away too much. Perfect trailer. This is the wrong end. It just didn't give enough. I had no clue what the movie was about, and all of the character design out of context looked horrendous. So I went into this movie with some pretty low expectations, and in the end, it's okay. This movie is getting really, really good reviews, and in all honesty, I really don't understand why, because it's not very special. Like, it's got some decent horror in it. I will say that we are pretty deprived of any horror movie that isn't rated R that has some decent scares in it. And this one does. They're few and far between, but they're still in there. And it's rare for a PG or PG-13 horror movie to have some scares that really do stick with you. And also, the character design, it's Guillermo del Toro. Even though it looked bad in the trailer, in context of the movie, it looks a lot better. There's just one that I didn't think was very good. You saw the character in the trailer. It's during a scene at a medical hospital, and it's just like a creature with like a big stomach that's very white. I don't know. I didn't like that design very much at all. It just looked like a face and a white body. But all of the other designs in the movie are cool. Of course, the one they're advertising, the one that's on the poster, the Scarecrow, looks awesome. But the biggest problem with this movie is that the characters suck. They are so boring. They have nothing to do this whole entire movie. The little development that they try to do for them is so quick. That's the problem. It's not like this movie doesn't try. It's just whenever there's a bit of development, it goes 15 seconds, that's the development, and then boom, here's another scare, or boom, here's another joke. And it makes it so that you can't get invested in the movie at all. They're just such boring characters. There's nothing visually about them that's interesting. Like, usually, they'll give them cool outfits or cool hairstyles to make them unique from all the other teenagers from horror movies. This one does not do it. And in the end, it's just a very, very forgettable movie. And I'm surprised it was coming out during August, because it's set during Halloween, and it feels very much like a Halloween movie. And if I was in a Halloween vibe, I think I would have liked this movie a lot more, but they probably didn't want to compete with Maleficent or some of the other movies coming out around then. But even then, Maleficent is PG, so I really don't know why this movie didn't come out in October. Oh well, don't really care. It's just a forgettable movie. It has a design that's memorable, but outside of that, the characters absolutely just ruined this movie. They're so poorly written. I will give Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark a 4.75 out of 10. Alright, that concludes my review for Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. So, what are your thoughts on this film, or what do you think of the book series? Comment in the comment section below and let me know. I'm Robert Burke, and this has been The Clever Critics. Goodbye.